What's up everyone, it is I, Magician88, and I'm going to be casting another game of StarCraft 2 sent to me by my good friend Eric, also known as LXE. But before we begin, I guess I'll just introduce the players who are in this game. In the bottom left half corner we have, spawning as the Red Terran, it is Tiffany! And in the top left hand corner, spawning as the blue Terran, it is going to be my friend Eric, also known as LXE. So this map is Red City, also known as the Ladder Edition, and it looks like both players are spawning in rather close positions. This is of course the Ladder Edition, so players won't automatically spawn in the cross spawn positions. But either way, this is going to be a TVT, and it looks like a lot of TVT games turn out to be mech on mech with hellbat drops and a lot of tanks. Often we see a lot of Marines mixed in for good measure, generally because mech units do require a bit of gas. But it looks like Tiffany here is actually going to go for gas first, which is a bit of a bizarre idea, especially since he hasn't dropped down a barracks just yet. But just judging by the no, we do see now the barracks actually being thrown down by Tiffany, so this is turning into a slightly delayed build. I think it's going to be a delayed Reaper. But delayed Reaper is still better than no Reaper, because either way on this map you can still get the Reaper up by jumping up onto the cliff from this side. You can get the Reaper to jump up the cliff from this side as well. It doesn't have to waltz in through the front door. Now Eric of course is going to try and scout out where Tiffany is, but I guess he won't find her. I'm guessing Tiffany's a girl. There are female players, by the way, so it's not really that surprising. But we do have the orbital coming down for Eric now. He hasn't gotten any gas, which means he's definitely not going to go for Reapers. We've got a Marine here who's sort of guarding this ramp. I think he's going to try and drop down an early expansion, especially with 15 workers. That's a good idea. Now we should be seeing a command center coming down for Eric very soon, but instead he decides to... Apparently he dropped 400 minerals. Oh yes, he did. So there is the early expansion deciding not to build it typically as Terran. You usually build your expansions in your base and then float them to the expansion site. However, it looks like Tiffany is in fact going to go for mechs, which we would have guessed with that early double gas. Much earlier than Eric's gas indeed, especially since I think Eric still hasn't gotten any of his gas, which means he's definitely not trying to get up a tech path. Instead he is just going to simply try and secure an expansion and move into the game. Meanwhile Tiffany is currently staying on one base. We should be seeing perhaps Widow Mines coming out of his factory very soon. I don't think we've seen tanks just yet. Seems a little bit early for tanks, although if she wants to play really defensively, of course, getting tanks would be a good idea as well. Now, we do have a bunker here, and this factory's not actually doing anything right now. I'm not entirely sure if that's a mistake by Tiffany. I don't see why you shouldn't be making something out of that right now. But Eric is instead going to play a bit more standard. He's going to probably go for a bio-mine composition, although I don't think that's really that great against Terran, especially against a Terran player who decides to go for mech. Now we do have the siege tank actually coming down for Tiffany, so looks like she's going to try and use the siege tank to hold off at least this corridor right here. But of course an attack that decides to come around from here is going to be a little bit more potent. Now one thing that you want to keep an eye on with Red City is that you can actually place the siege tank here. It should be able to cover this much area at least. Now if you put a siege tank right here, then basically this entire choke is covered with siege tank fire. But it looks like these three Marines are just going to hut all the way into the base of Tiffany, but really that they're going to get blown to bits. And I think Eric already knows that there is in fact siege tanks. That's going to be the route of tech for Tiffany, at least at least for now. It looks like one of the detriments of Terran is that once you go down a tech path, it's actually rather difficult to change that tech path. I'm not entirely sure if that's the case because I don't actually play Terran, but if that is the case, then obviously Eric, also being the Terran player, would probably be aware of this, and thus he will realize that Tiffany is going for a very standard mech army, as opposed to the fire army which is used against Protoss and Zerg. Although mech is pretty good against Zerg. But anyway, back to Terran. Now we don't see a starport from, we are yet to see a starport actually from Tiffany, which means basically we're not going to be seeing any Hellbat drops anyway. It looks like Hellbat drops are actually quite standard in TBT. But either way, LXE here is actually going to go for +1 attack. We should be seeing +1 armor as well, especially with this double engineering bay. That's usually what you see. We do see a starport from Eric actually, so that's pretty interesting. Maybe he has decided to go for Hellbat drops, or even better, mine drops. But with this amount of missile turrets, definitely trying to land your Hellbats anywhere near the middle line is going to be a little difficult, especially with this tank sort of keeping an eye on everything else as well. So obviously you're going to have a bit of a hard time. I like this defensive position. It basically means that any early bomb rushes are just going to be really, really difficult, especially with this bunker here. So like this bunker is literally just helping these tanks shoot in air. Meanwhile the tanks by themselves will be able to hold out for quite a while, at least. The armory has been thrown down, which means we should be seeing some mech upgrades from Tiffany very soon, but Eric's still sticking to a pure marine army actually, so not entirely sure whether this is such a good idea, but it looks like he has decided to drop the third really, really close to what the hell just happened there? Wait, what just happened? I don't think I just saw a bit of red. I don't remember seeing a Hellion being produced by Eric, but I guess he did, and that was a scouting Hellion, so now he's actually going to try and defend his base here. Or actually more or less attack the third, the apparent third of Tiffany, although it is really just natural at this point in time. Tiffany hasn't actually got up a third base just yet, but with this many Marines, Eric should be able to secure his third. So I just adjust my mic for a second. Now we do see the mech upgrades coming out for Tiffany, which means she's probably, I'm guessing she's probably going to commit to a full mech army. There's no bio anywhere actually. If you look at the units tab. Okay, we do have 5 Marines, so that's definitely going to help. Oh, we do have 4 Marines in that bunker as well. That's definitely going to be pretty useful. We do see +2 coming down for Eric, which means he's going to be committing to a bio army, and I think at this particular point in time it appears that Eric has an inferior army. Mech is usually good against bio from memory, especially with tanks against Marines. It's definitely just a no-brainer. Now Tiffany's actually going for a Raven. That's an interesting choice. I'm not entirely sure what she'll do with this Raven. We'll find out soon enough. But +1 mech upgrades have been completed, which means the tanks are actually going to shoot a lot harder. If we look at the siege tank right there, it's going to do 38 damage to Marines, which means so they still two-shot Marines. Excuse me. We do have a pair of Vikings coming now for LXE, which means he could deal with the Raven, I guess. He doesn't know anything about that Raven, though. I'm not entirely sure if he even saw the starport. No,
Potenziamento completato.
Potenziamento completato. Okay, it looks like what's that for? I don't know. But anyway, we do see a drop coming down. One of the medevacs is actually going to get taken out by the missile turret. In fact, both medevacs get taken out by the missile turret. That was a very, very bad move by Eric. didn't actually do any damage. More importantly, he actually lost 2 medevacts full of units, which meant he's really behind right now. And I think Tiffany usually might consider counterattacking, but at this point it's not such a bad idea because, as you can see, she is at a very huge supply disadvantage. But the scouting barrack is going to see exactly what is going on. Tiffany now knows that there are, in fact, Vikings, tanks, and Marines, which is actually a very standard Terran army against Terran. It's quite surprising. Now, I'm not sure why I'm getting these lag spikes, but either way, as I haven't casted in so long, I'm going to just simply. Now, it looks like a couple of scans from Tiffany will reveal that Eric is in fact going for a 4th base. What else is happening? It looks like Tiffany is going to respond by finally getting up her natural, for want of a better word. Now, I think Tiffany should actually siege up the tank here. It would definitely be a lot safer than sieging them right at the front, although a lot of players probably don't realize that this aspect of the map is pretty useful, pretty damn useful. Now the great thing about this little area here is if Eric tries to load these tanks up here and then drop them around here, he could actually, like, I don't know, maybe do a flank as well. As he attacks with one bit of his army up the front, he can then flank the army with flank this defense force with the other half of the army and perhaps destroy the planetary. Of course, it is a bit of a stretch, and I don't think it will actually work. But both players are actually now floating a lot of minerals, which means I think they should really drop down a few more production facilities. LXE, of course, realizing that he has a lot of minerals, he decides to drop down 4 barracks. It's a good idea. He should probably get some marauders, I think, no, you shouldn't get marauders, you should probably get banshees. Banshees would be a pretty good idea, especially since there seems to be barely any anti-air in the form of Vikings. For Tiffany, I don't think she has any Vikings. In fact, Banshees would actually be a pretty good idea, especially with their long range. Should be able to snipe a couple of tanks, mainly this one, and this one at least, possibly flying in around here. Should be able to take out this one and this one as well. Now, one thing you want to do as Terran players is not make that many planetaries. If you especially for a natural, you do not need that to be a planetary. That's like a pro tip of the day. You do not need that many planetaries. You're playing. That's extremely defensive, and it's also not really good because what can orbitals do that planetaries cannot? Call down fuels, drop scans. Very useful things. These Vikings. Oh, this Viking could have actually sniped a couple of SCVs. Eric was paying attention. That was actually not. That was a rather risky thing for Tiffany to do, to send a seeker missile on a Viking that was right on top of these SCVs. You've got to remember, if a seeker missile hits a Viking on top of a bunch of units, those units get hit too. And the seeker missile does quite a bit of damage, which means that the SCVs are probably going to die. You've definitely got to keep an eye on that, as most players are currently just sitting back and turtling up. That's a very normal thing for Terran players to do, but it looks like Eric is actually on max supply now. Somehow he's got 199 in supply depots. I find that very, very hard to believe. Maybe that's just a game error. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, there we go. It's 200. But it looks like this amount. Oh, these SCVs are actually. They were thinking of building a bunch of hidden barracks, but instead they got killed. That's sloppy work from Tiffany, but nevertheless it does free up a bit of supply. But she needs to drop down a few more supply depots. She's getting very much supply blocked, and she's actually I think she's committing a little bit too hard on just pure mech. Admittedly, it will be a bit of a difficult thing to break, but at the same time, I mean, she's got a lot of minerals, and her macro is not doing that well. Now these tanks are going to get completely destroyed by Tiffany's tanks, freeing up a bit of supply. I think looks like Eric's going to do a drop on those tanks. That would actually be a really, really good idea. Should be able to take out those tanks, no problem. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully he pays attention and doesn't lose those 2 medevacs to just missile turrets. He's actually going to flip it right over and as we just saw right there, those tanks are actually managing to take out all those marines, but it looks like these two medevacs do manage to survive that Seeker missile for now. So I think right now we're in a bit of a stalemate. There's just a lot of tanks, which means that Eric can't actually break through just yet. Although I really think with that many marines, he should be able to take out these 2 siege tanks at least. Then have these siege tanks break planetary, but oh, that's a good move by Tiffany to use the winter mine to destroy that tank apparently. I actually think that's a bit of a overkill by Tiffany, and those 2 winter mines are actually going to die as well. I'm not sure if Eric realizes that he has an army here. Both players are actually going. Either way, he's actually going to go for it, and those missile turrets actually doing a lot of damage, taking out that entire army. Although those 2 siege tanks did actually get destroyed, like I said, so at least that's a bit of a victory for Eric, although he did lose quite a lot to do it. That being said, he has 1,695 minerals and 2,200 and something gas. That is, of course, nothing compared to the 9,000 minerals that Tiffany is currently floating. This is an insane game. Meanwhile, Eric realizes he's got a lot of resources, so he's decided to just quadruple expand, possibly take the entire map. Tiffany, what are you doing? You have 8,000 minerals. You have 9,000 minerals and only 123 supply. You should make some barracks. Pro tip of the day, it doesn't matter what race you play. Terran, Zerg, Protoss, doesn't matter what race you play. If you have 9,000 minerals, make a few more production facilities and build a few more units. Get some diversity in your units too. That actually helps. No joke. Now, somehow, Eric has managed to pull through 2,000 minerals worth of stuff. I guess he's just making a lot of missile turrets. I'm not entirely sure why you would do that, but that would really contain Tiffany right now. But oh, we do see a bit of a mana mule, and those mana mules actually baiting the fire of the siege tanks. Not entirely sure if that actually did a bit of damage to the worker count. If we bring up the that's not it. Haven't done this in quite a while, evidently. So if we bring up the should be a units. There we go. If we bring up the workers lost tab there, it becomes 11 workers killed to just 8. So I think that actually did a bit of damage for Eric on Tiffany's economy. Now these siege tanks, I honestly reckon he could just move them up here and siege them up and destroy this base, because there's only 4. There's about 12. But we do have the Yamato cannon actually being researched by Tiffany. This means that battle cruisers are actually going to come out very soon. We do have Terran air weapons coming out for Tiffany as well. Oh, I think this is actually a really, really good idea. Especially with that kind of that many resources. That's actually pretty damn good for Tiffany to get, especially since the only anti-air is just if we look at the units tab, the only anti-air for Eric is just a bunch of Marines, 4 Vikings and 1 Thor. That Thor, of course, is not going to do anything. We do have 5 battle cruisers coming out right now. I think we're going to be seeing even more, as we do only have a few production facilities. I think, therefore, I am. Yo, bro, says Eric, and you turtle too much. That may be, but oh my god, Eric is actually making just a bunch of orbitals. Now, I think what he's going to do, he's going to attack, and then he's going to mule. He's going to mule right in here, bait the fire of the siege tanks, and then proceed to attack. Now the mules should be able to bait enough fire from the siege tanks. Oh, we do have this, seeking missiles on all those tanks! Oh my god, I think the entire tank line is actually going to get broken. Except for this tank. Now we do have the Behemoth reactor, which means Tiffany really committing to mass battlecruiser right now. She's got 5. She doesn't have enough gas to get any more. She's only getting 4 more. She's getting 5 more. That's it. She's not mining gas from this base. She's mining gas from this base, and her gas is running out in this base. She really needs to expand, but unfortunately at this particular point in time she cannot, because there's so many missile turrets that basically Eric knows where all of Tiffany's forces are going to be, and literally he's essentially just forced Tiffany into her little corner. But of course Tiffany could try and break out of her little corner with a bunch of tanks, with a bunch of battle cruisers. Now you see here, the mules immediately destroyed, but at least the tanks do manage to get rid of one of the SCVs. That's not really going to be that important now because Tiffany's floating on 10,000 minerals. It's quite amazing when you think that this game, spoilers, actually goes for an extra half an hour. Now this medevac knows exactly what the hell is going on now because she just floated over all those planetaries. Oh wow, over all planetaries, and knows exactly what's going on. Meanwhile, Eric is just sort of looking for a way to break through, and I think if he gets all of this and just attacks, should be able to break through. There's not that many SCVs. I think they'll have a really hard time repairing the planetary, but the longer Eric waits, the more battlecruisers there are, and I think with enough battlecruisers and Seeker missiles, I think this entire marine army is going to get completely obliterated within a matter of seconds. It will be bloody, it will be inhuman, it will be so cool though. We'll find out soon enough, but this is turning out to be a pretty intense game as Eric is just taking more and more expansions. He's essentially taking the entire map bar this expansion, which means, oh, and this expansion of course, but I get the feeling that you're gonna have to destroy the missile turret first before you can actually get that expansion. Now the rocks have been destroyed, which means Eric could actually try and do a pincer, not so much of a pincer attack, just a 2-pronged attack, or go straight for the natural. But going straight for the natural, not such a good idea. There are 2 tanks, and there are a bunch of widow mines. That's not such a good idea. I've really got to keep an eye on this mini-map. As you can see, there's just a sea of blue devouring a circle of red. A little bit of red. There's just a tiny bit of red. Meanwhile, let's see how many bases Eric is still mining out of. It's 1, 2, sort of, 3, 4, so he still has a bit of an economy going. With that many minerals, somehow he's managed to hold out, but that's why it's not such a good idea. I don't think he realizes, does Eric even know that there are battle cruisers? I don't think he does. No, Eric doesn't even know that there's a fusion core, so he actually has no idea of the battle cruisers. This is going to actually come to a bit of a shock. Now, how many battle cruisers do we have? We have 13 battle cruisers. That's quite a significant number of battle cruisers, and they are sitting on 2-1 upgrades. Oh, this is actually not a good position for Eric, because even 3 Marines, I'm pretty sure, have a bit of a hard time against battle cruisers with 2-1 upgrades. Tiffany finally realizing that she should build more barracks. Really good idea with that many minerals. Oh, a good widow mine shot does take out one of them. medevacs, but not enough. Oh no, there's Marines! They're actually going to go straight in and taking a lot of damage from those Widow Mines. Actually manages to force the cancel on a lot of those barracks. Oh, those Marines actually running around, not entirely sure what they're going to do there. Now this Thor is actually going to try and walk in. I don't think he can do much though. Shouldn't be able to do a lot. We do have more Ravens actually being produced, and I think Tiffany, now with the supply advantage for the first time in a long time. Oh, still trying to bait these siege tanks. Really good use of minerals to both steal minerals and to bait SCV kills. But now he's just going overboard. This is insane. Stealing so many minerals from Tiffany's base, meaning that she'll basically not be able to mine that many minerals. But to be honest, oh, LXE with the money scan right there. Now he knows that he is going up against so many battle cruisers. Does he even have the production to make enough Vikings to kill all of these before they ransack his army? I'm not entirely sure, but it looks like they're going to go out now. He's out for blood. And these missile turrets are not actually going to do that much against all of those battle cruisers. In fact, Tiffany bringing all the big guns, unsieging all the tanks. The attack is actually going to happen. Now, for LXE to actually try and hold out, this is going to require all the micro that he can get, all the micro he can muster, because he is playing against an army that is, I'm pretty sure, far superior to his own. He's using Marines, tanks, and missile turrets against Raven siege tanks and battle cruisers. Now these SCVs, they better watch themselves because their main goal is to repair. But instead they're just going to run to their deaths. Now these Widow Mines should be able to do some damage, but unfortunately it looks like the tanks are just going to take all the kills first. Now he doesn't want to just waste health on missile turrets. He should just actually try and just kill off this missile turret right here. We'll be able to siege the planetary, and of course these missile turrets are just going to be useless against that many battle cruisers. This tank trying to make something happen, but good dodging, but unfortunately it does get destroyed, and it looks like LXE in a really bad position right now. These battle cruisers are actually just going to move right on ahead, and this army is really difficult to destroy. What can you do as Terran against that? Well, you can make the same thing, but that's actually pretty damn difficult to do, especially if you have to respond to it, and these Marines are not going to be able to do anything. This Thor wants to do something, but instead it's just going to get a Yamato cannon to the face. This battle cruiser actually, this is very surprising, manages to be down to 42 health. It's really surprising. I think what Blizzard needs to do is to have fiery animation for battle cruisers. I mean it's not really like a disadvantage to Terran players, because really you can just press the alt button. You can just press the alt button and you'll see the health points of all units, no matter if they're friend or foe, which really makes target fire a little bit easier. If you have battle cruisers on fire when they're at red health, that would actually make it, I think, visually realistic and quite appealing, to be honest. Just an idea. But it looks like Tiffany is just continuing to pump out more battle cruisers and Ravens. BC Raven, pretty good combination. Haven't seen it since I haven't actually seen it since Wings of Liberty. So I think LXE is actually in a really bad position now. He's only got 8 seconds to fly. The army tab units whatever. Yeah, if you look at the army supply, it's only 29 to 152. Meaning that Eric will actually lose this game, but Eric does have a massive economy lead. I'm kind of sure if that actually means anything now. He's trying to make something happen. They're trying to make something happen, but unfortunately, we're actually gonna have to keep an eye on this battle cruiser here. Currently up to 7 kills. It's only got 42 health. Does Eric know about this? He probably doesn't. we have Hellions coming out for Tiffany. A bit of a random choice, although she doesn't have any more gas, so I suppose getting as many mineral deposits as you can would be a really good idea. Mass Marine, pretty damn good idea. Oh, we do have a bunch of reactors coming down for all those starports. You know what that means? We're going to see Mass Viking. Oh yeah, we are going to see so many missiles shot at all of this. Not entirely sure though if LXE has enough time, although he is building from the other side of the map, meaning that Tiffany, does Tiffany even know about this? No, she does not. She does not know about any of this. We'll find out. I guess she'll find out sooner or later. You'll see now even more starports actually being dropped by Eric here, as he is just continuing to pump out all of the Vikings. All of the Vikings. We already have about 10. That's obviously not enough. He needs to make even more. And does he even have the air upgrades? I'm not entirely sure. No, he only has +1 attack, meaning that these battle cruisers are going to be okay for now. I think Tiffany needs to use this remaining gas wisely and try and find some more gas. She definitely needs to clear out this base of missile turrets in order to drop down a command center, because guess what? She's not mining gas! And when you're not mining gas as Terran or Protoss, that's a bit of a problem. If you're not mining gas as Zerg, that's also a bit of a problem, but I've seen that a lot of pretty damn good units don't really cost that much gas. We're talking Lings, Roaches, Hydras, Queens. What am I talking about? See that a lot of those units don't actually cost any gas. Okay. Well, they do cost a little bit of gas. Whatever. This planetary is actually going to just be destroyed. And that's actually going to supply. That's going to actually supply block Eric by quite a lot. And now the Hellions actually just going to clean house. You don't really see that often. Like a bunch of Hellions just cleaning house. Now, I think this planetary is enough to hold out against all of those, but oh, that's a lot of Vikings. We're going to see a huge battle coming down very soon, but that's a lot of things. I don't even remember what they're called anymore, but oh, so many mines! So many mines, and I think a lot of those Hellions got shot down by those mines. There's not enough battle cruisers. There's just way too many Vikings against this many battle cruisers, though. And the missile turret's getting in on the action too. Yamato Cannon managing to take out quite a few of the Vikings. That's a good idea though, you really need to thin out those numbers. But unfortunately there's just way too many Vikings. Way too many Vikings. And I think Eric's done it! He's done it! He's actually managed to destroy the battle cruisers. He's actually done it! Tiffany's huge battle cruiser army is no more. Tiffany's battlecruiser army is no more, but it looks like LXE's Viking fleet is also no more, with just a handful of Marines and Hellions. Can Tiffany make something happen? She definitely needs to first get rid of this planetary, which will prove very difficult because planetaries do have 3 armor. Of course, these Hellions do have +3 attack, which means they will do at least 7 damage to a building that has 1,500 hit points. It will take a while. 2 Marines clearly not being able to take out 1 tank. I'm not entirely sure what Tiffany can do at this particular point in time. Eric is lost as well. It looks like he's just making Marines and Vikings. I mean, a lot of players usually at this point in time, when they lose their huge battlecruiser army, they just leave. Pretty standard. You just leave. I mean, it's a big army to lose. But of course, when you have 5,000 minerals and you're playing Terran, the obvious choice is of course you still have something to do. You can still make 500 Marines, and you can win. Wait, no, it's actually 100 Marines. My bad. But that's actually a lot of Hellions too. Now I don't think Hellions are such a good idea because I think, from memory, Eric doesn't have that many Marines. He does not. We did have those 2 Widow Mines. I think if those 2 Widow Mines were placed with the battle cruisers, that battle would have changed quite dramatically. Would it be very different? In fact, I think those battle cruisers would still be alive. The difference of Widow Mines is often quite significant, and I think actually what Eric can do himself is that he can probably make a bunch of Widow Mines, and that would be the funniest thing ever. But he is deciding to continue with the Marine, Tank and Viking production, which is actually extremely standard of him to do. He's still making Vikings, which I think he doesn't I don't think he realizes that that's not such a good idea unless he decides to land the Vikings on top of the tanks. Then it would be a good idea. And also I suppose the Vikings will stand quite a good chance of killing off all the Hellions when they decide to land. Vikings actually do pretty damn well as defense against Hellbat drops. Fun fact. You see it all the time. Oh, these SCVs actually managing to kill off that missile turret. Don't really hear that often. But Tiffany now knows that Eric has in fact been making just a huge amount of Vikings. Not really very useful information, seeing that Vikings can still land on the ground and kill Marines, for example. They can still land on the ground and kill Hellions. They can still land on the ground, and if they land properly in the right position, they should be able to kill off tanks. But at this point, what do you do? At this point, what do you do? You've just destroyed a huge army. I think you should have counterattacked, but it looks like Eric is just waiting for that 200 supply to be reached, and then he'll probably attack with a huge Viking swarm. But it looks like he's actually just going to go for it. Now he should be able to snipe off the Ravens, which all have, by the way, full energy. These Ravens really need to get a repair going. I think Eric is just playing a little bit scared here. Now he knows that there are siege tanks, but I don't think he realizes that there's not that many Marines, which means with this many Vikings, he's just going to go for it now. Now these Ravens are actually going to die. All of them are going to die. Oh my god, there's actually so many Hellbats as well. I didn't actually realize that Tiffany researched that upgrade that nobody can say properly. That's transformation service something or other. But that's a bit of a sloppy. That's a bit of a sloppy move from Eric, actually. Putting the move command of some of those Vikings on some of the ground units. You gotta remember, Vikings, they can't attack ground unless you land them, which means when they're in the air and they're doing a move command on some of the ground units, they're not actually doing anything. Unless there's an air unit nearby for them to shoot. Oh, but these tanks are actually pretty vulnerable. Eric, you should if Eric landed those Vikings on top of the tanks, then of course those tanks would be destroyed. Now you gotta realize that 2 of them have really low health, which means even a bunch of Marines should be able to take out this many tanks. Or this few amount of tanks, but with that many Hellbats, this army is going to be very difficult to destroy. Now, not even Vikings are going to have a good day destroying it, but I don't know what Eric's going to do. Is he going to actually land the Vikings? He needs to land the Vikings at least around here while the tanks are shooting at the planetary. He's actually going to book it again. He's going to book it again, and these Marines are having a field day with those Vikings. He's actually going to land on the bottom. No, he's just going to fly them around. What are you doing with these Vikings, Eric? He's actually going to land them right here. They're actually going to go to town now, and they're also on the high ground too, which means these Hellions are not going to have a good day. They're not going to have a good day at all, and especially without the micro that's needed. Now, I'm not sure if Tiffany's actually got this. I think we've got a sick concave by Tiffany with these Hellions. She's actually managed to get rid of a lot of those Vikings, but unfortunately there's just way too many. I think there's just way too many Vikings, and the move command as well actually manages to force a lift, and those missile turrets are going to get to work on those Vikings. This is actually pretty intense. Just a little bit of repositioning, maybe on even the high ground. That'll be good. Oh, huge hit by the Widow Mines. huge hit on by those widow mines on some of those Vikings, managing to take out quite a few. If we look at the units killed, 5 and 3, managing to take out quite a few units with those widow mines. These Vikings on the high ground being quite pesky as well. They will not be able to break the planetary anytime soon, but Tiffany already starting to slowly move out. Marine, all these Marines, what are you doing? I think that's a bad rally. Bad rally position. No, I don't know what he was doing with those. Now these Vikings are actually going to just fly over a bunch of missile turrets. It's not very good for your health and well-being. But anyway, we do have a huge force of those Hellions, Marines, and siege tanks booking it through into the base. Essentially, it's the base of Eric, and Eric has nothing to defend against this. He does have a bunch of Vikings and 2 Marines. I don't think that's enough. I don't think that's enough, actually. Where are his siege tanks, Eric? Do you not have siege tanks? You don't. He's only got 17 Vikings and 5 Marines. I don't think he's got it. I don't think he's got it. In fact, actually, the only way Eric can win is if he manages to kill off the tanks and then somehow, by some comedy miracle, manages to break all those Hellions, and more importantly, break all those Marines. Now those Marines actually ignoring all those Vikings. That might actually be the bane of Tiffany's game. He needs to land the Vikings! What are you doing? Why aren't you landing the Vikings? Okay, there we go, he lands the Vikings, but right on top of those Hellbats. And in fact, the siege tanks do actually fall, which means there's going to be no splash damage from from Tiffany now, but Eric, and also Eric with the huge, sick concave. I think Eric's done it. He's actually won. I think he's won. Those Marines are not going to do anything, and I think that's it. What can Tiffany do now? She's only got 465 minerals. He's only got a bunch of Hellions and Hellbats, and a couple of Marines. There's no way she can win. There's no way she can win with that many Vikings. With that many Vikings! And that many siege tanks! I think Eric's done it, guys. Unless Tiffany gets some... Oh, hold on. If Tiffany can get a really, really good shot with those widow mines, can actually take out a lot of those Vikings, but unfortunately not enough. And those widow mines will be destroyed by those landed Vikings, and I think very soon we should be seeing a GG. The Hellions going to try and make something work, make something happen, but unfortunately Vikings actually pretty damn good versus Hellbats. You'd be surprised, but this planetary actually managing to hold out for a bit. 5 siege tanks, I don't think it's enough. Eric needs to make some more siege tanks. Okay, looks like he's going to try and book it with the Vikings. He's going to land them. He's going to land the Vikings right on top of this army, and the siege tanks also coming in as well. Now, siege mode, these tanks have actually sieged up, and I think the army of Tiffany has been completely ransacked. Tiffany, she left! She just left! No GG! What a game! Oh my goodness, what a game. If we just go back to that little bit, with all of them, man, that was epic. We need to go back to that engagement. Is the engagement? No, maybe before this. Okay, I guess it was here then. Let's just watch that in slow motion. I mean, that one engagement is really what sealed the deal, and we're going to watch it in slow motion. Now, you've got to remember a lot of those Seeker missiles did manage to hit, which meant that there was a bit of a lack of micro for Eric, but I like how he managed to, he decided to split his army of Vikings so that he gets a bit of a concave on those battle cruisers. Now, there weren't that many battle cruisers, and there were a huge amount of Vikings, which is why those Vikings were pretty good at killing off if she had a bunch of barracks, like a huge amount of barracks, and made like a stack of marines, and just used those marines to reinforce against these Vikings, this battle could have actually gone quite differently. But unfortunately, she did end up losing all those battle cruisers, which basically meant she was really, really far behind. She invested a lot, like a little bit too much on 3 base. And basically her economy was completely destroyed. It was almost an all-in. She did manage to stay alive for quite a while, 15 more minutes before she decided to leave. But that was an excellent game. And wow, TVT just got interesting. So thanks for watching, everyone. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more hot StarCraft 2 action. You can also follow me on Twitter at Magician88. You can also follow my stream on Twitch TV. It's twitch.tv/Magician88. I've actually got a new live stream account. It's like livestream.com. It's just a general live stream site. Yep, whatever. You can find me there as the Dark Magician, 2 words. Magician spelled as Magician88 spelled. Yep. And alright, so until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye! Actually, you know what? Let's just watch that again. That was truly fantastic. Let's just watch it one more time. One more time. One more time. Sky Terran versus Sky Terran. I think the only thing that would make me nerdgasm even more is Sky Toss versus Sky Toss. That would be so awesome.